Yeah, how does it feel to know that if it wasn't because you met Myron, you would still be working at Chick-fil-A or whatever?
That's so disrespectful. Now, the real question is, why does everyone come at Fresh, not Myron? Is it because Fresh is so incompetent? No, it's not because he's incompetent. Is it because Fresh is so bad at his job? Is it because he's making no contribution? No, that's not the truth of it. The truth of why people come at Fresh is because they perceive him to be an easy target. They perceive him to be weak. They don't perceive him to be aggressive and mean and vicious. And that's the exact reason that people come at him, which is to say they think they're going to get an easy W. They're going to get a simple, straightforward victory, a win. And that's why they come on, say, oh, yeah, I'm going to bully this guy. And all it verifies is that the person calling in is a bully and a coward. And that's why he picks the guy that's of shorter stature, that's not aggressive, that's not vulgar, and he wants to display his manhood by trying to reduce Walter. Hmm? But you see the coward, they try to bully the people that are small or who are, you know, low key. And that's all it is.
Now, I'm inclined to agree with him to some degree. I'm going to break that down very quickly. So, when it comes to the people who actually attack Fresh and disrespect him, yes, they are doing it because they know they can get away with it. They know they can get away with it. This is the thing. This is the equivalent of you being on Xbox and somebody insulting you. Except it's kind of not the equivalent because Fresh is a public figure. We can see his face. We are familiar with him because we've seen tons of footage of him. But the person on the other end is nobody. He is nobody. Like, he has no face. He has no identity or anything of that nature. Probably doesn't even travel. Definitely doesn't live in the same city or state as Fresh 9 times out of 10. So the only thing that he could do in this situation is disrespect them over the internet, verbally, et cetera, et cetera. And even then, it's just going to be some blanket, like the same insult he would say to anybody that disrespects him. And even then, who wants to engage in that? As a content creator, who wants to engage in that?
You hear me?
You called me a bitch?
Yeah, ho, I called you a bitch, but I apologize for it, bro. Do you accept my apology?
I heard you call her a hoe, bro. Your girl a hoe, bro.
Abby, tell your nigga chill out, I'm gonna crash out. Tell him right now.
You're the one that called me a hoe.
I'm sorry for calling you a hoe. But bitch, I need you to get on your knees and do something for a little piece of change, ho. Yo, Abby, your nigga a hoe, you been a hoe. Nigga, yeah, y'all stay at home with your mama.
And that's just an example of what I'm talking about. Most people don't want to engage in that type of fucking behavior. But listen, what Marquette is saying would hold more weight if we were actually talking about other YouTubers, because he gets into this whole thing about like people attacking a big bad wolf and all this shit. And just all the shit that you heard in the clip. Like, it would make more sense if we were talking about actual YouTubers getting at him, because that's where wars could happen. Wars are not really going to happen with fans. Like, you're just going to have an exchange. They're going to go back into their basement. You know, they're going to go back in the comments, write all types of shit about you, and that's going to be it. But when you talk about another creator, that's somebody with another channel. Y'all could go back and forth. At least this person has an identity. We've seen all types of, back and forth where people start digging up dirt and doing all types of shit, right? But listen, didn't Fresh, offer to fight Preach? Didn't he offer to fight Preach and folded? Yeah, that actually happened. That actually happened. So we not about to act like dude is just docile and just the weakest. And he called dude out and folded. That's what happened when he actually had a war with another YouTuber. And I don't got nothing against Fresh or nothing like that, but we just got to keep it a whole beat. The reason I was compelled to do this video is because, or even to click his video, is because this is titled The Real Reason Why, people hate Fresh Prince CEO. And what he just said just now, that's not why people, air quote, hate him. It's more like that is why people attack him or disrespect him when they get on the phone, when they are actually talking to him. You could even kind of say that's why they do it when they are typing on the channel and stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. We're talking strictly about people who attack him. But when people aren't necessarily trying to disrespect him, when people actually have a gripe with what he is to the show and on the show, when there is actually no disrespect present with it, you know, this now we get to talk about why people dislike him or hate him. Because what Marquez said only applies to people who directly attack him in a disrespectful manner. There are people with actual gripes about his position on the show. So this is a layup. This is a layup off the glass. I'm going to play a clip.
Fresh, I'm going to make it real quick, right? The reason why, like, a lot of people in the whole community hate on you is because of the fact that whatever you do to bring value is not seen. There's a level of, like, incompetence that comes across, and because you don't speak well and you stutter, and it seems like your growth in that aspect is super slow. From the outside looking in, it looks almost like you're leeching. So a lot of people look at you and they go, wait, man, I can do that better than he can. I can talk better than he can. I can act better than he can. I can regurgitate the same talking points better than he can. So that's why people look at you and they go, yeah, no, we don't really fuck with that guy. And it doesn't really help that you dismiss it and almost seem as though you're not really improving at a pace in which people can respect.
Now, he goes on, but listen. Is that guy saying that to Fresh because Fresh is weak, or he looks at Fresh like he's not vicious? No. There is nothing disrespectful about what we just heard. That is a honest, genuine critique. That is an honest, genuine critique, even though they turn him into a meme and things of that nature, and they just make fun of him. And I'm sure, because I was looking for images on this and I seen they just be making fun of him on Reddit and stuff like that. It's crazy. Like, it gets crazy. Even though some of these people call in and disrespect him, that doesn't mean that these narratives and concerns weren't birthed out of something real. So listen, I'm not going to give you 18 things or a tremendous list. I'm going to just say a few things, man. And listen, before I get into this, the person I really don't like is Myron. And that's just me keeping it real. And the reason I don't like him is for no reason other than he's racist. That's it. That's it. When it comes to Fresh, I don't have anything as far as any negative feelings towards him. So I'm not here to hate on dude. That's just a disclaimer. Like, when it comes to Myron, I do not fuck with Myron. That being said, one of the things to a fault that I have is that I am not a hater. They make good content. Just keeping it a bean. So when we look at Fresh, you had that whole thing. You had two scandals that were very detrimental to Fresh and Fit as a brand. Because the thing about Fresh is he's supposed to be like the game guru, and you know, they had this big ass course that they were selling for like thousands of dollars or something. I can't remember. I could go and dig it up or whatever. But that's what it's supposed to be. He's supposed to be the guy with the game, et cetera, et cetera. They both supposed to have it, but listen, he's supposed to be that guy. He had the whole thing with the sugar baby and all of that stuff where academics exposed them and stuff like that. Even though academics is supposed to be their friends, et cetera, like that's how that panned out. So that was a really bad look. It became water under the bridge. They just moved on. They addressed it. They moved on. Now, after that, he had something recently, which was like tremendously horrible. Like this escort of a woman, like this escort. He was tricking on her. Not only was he tricking on her something crazy, but she got allegedly pregnant because she's a scammer. She's a scammer. She's a scamming. Whoa. She said she was pregnant with his baby. Not only was she pregnant with his baby and stuff like that and put it out there, but she went on a whole media run, man. The shit was so bad. ABBA and Preach, you know that they want to and I don't even think it's they. It's really ABBA. He wants to destroy them so bad. You know it's bad when he doesn't take the opportunity to interview the whore that's trying to expose you. That is how horrible the bitch was. Wait a minute. So ABBA, and ABBA don't got no chains, no jewelry. He barely even get lineups. I don't know if I seen him with a lineup, dog. But ABBA in Canada, with all his Henley t-shirts and the ketchup stains on his shirts that he be getting on screen with and shit, on a creaky floor in his apartment and shit. If he could see that something was wrong with this chick when she was trying to throw the coochie at him and stuff like that, how the fuck can a game guru, somebody that's selling $1,000 courses and shit, not see that this is not even a type of bitch that he should even be like having conversations with? Nonetheless, nothing inside to where it's even questionable to any degree. And listen, they both have done things that have been detriments to their brand, but you know, he pretty much killed the authenticity. That if there was anybody anywhere who thought that there was some authenticity to them being like game gods and gurus and all, like, bruh, you just pretty much killed that. Now, we don't got to go no deeper into that. Now, you remember when I said I don't like Myron, but I'm not a hater. I just got to be real. When it comes to this podcast shit, Myron is the star of the podcast. I don't want to say he's a star, but he's the star of the podcast. When you think of Myron and his contribution to the podcast, you see in a bunch of clips, what are the things that you think of? You think of Myron spitting out the same talking points, right? Myron spitting out a lot of the same talking points that, air quote, educate a lot of men. What do you also think of? I gotta be honest, dog. Because Kevin Samuels was out here, bro. Kevin Samuels was out here. And Kevin Samuels was critiquing black women just one-on-one as they call in. He was doing like a call-in show, right? These guys, they seen that. They took the format. And I haven't seen a podcast do this before this. They are known for this. This is how come they got over 1 million subscribers, probably millions. But they took a similar format, but they said, listen, this is what we're going to do. We're going to get chicks in the studio. To sit down. So when it comes down to it, like, they are known. It's 8 million podcasts with that format, having hot chicks sitting down, debating about relationships or discussing relationships and stuff. Nobody was doing that. They started the wave, and now it's 1 million people doing this shit. And this is the thing. When you have these podcasts, when you look at a No Fugazi, Cooley is the Myron type model. He is the person who logically debates the women and debunks a lot of the shit that they say, and he just dunks all over these chicks, right? When you go and you look at the other podcasts, like the Whatever podcast, you know, I think the dude's name is Brian. He's okay with it. He's very competent. He can do very good. But Andrew, who is not even he's not even like a owner of the podcast. He's supposed to be a guest, but he's damn near a permanent guest. Might as well be like a co-host for real. That dude has 90% of the highlights when it comes to that podcast. And guess what? He is another Myron type figure, a very logical guy that understands male to female dynamics. Now, you see how I laid that out about Myron, and I'm not even done. When you think about Fresh and you think about all these podcasts, what would a Fresh figure look like on another podcast? It would look like somebody who sits there doesn't say much memorable, doesn't really have a solid debate with anybody, just ad-libs. Like, if I'm being honest, I'm just saying shit. It just doesn't, nothing, like, bruh, it's nothing. It's nothing. It's like having an invisible man there. That's what having it, like, bruh, there's nothing significant as far as a verbal contribution or entertainment contribution or a debate contribution that you can point at him and say that he gives to the podcast. When it comes to on-screen and getting on the mic, even comedy, the dude who runs the boards, everybody knows he's got a better personality and he's better at that. Like, he that's what he does. He's not really trying to cook these chicks in a debate. That dude is trying to play sound effects, make faces, and then just dunk on these chicks and also check these chicks. That's what that dude behind the boards does, the bigger dude. And I'm going to tell you the reason why he doesn't debate that much. It's not because he doesn't know XYZ or anything like that. It's because he is horrible at putting his thoughts together. If you look at his debate with Sneeko, that you could see Sneeko making faces. You could see Sneeko like, what the fuck is this cat even talking about? What are we doing? What the fuck is this? And Myron is just trying to hold it together while this is going on. He is just trying to hold it together. So when it comes down to it, he is not capable of contributing in that way. So he cannot contribute significantly as far as entertainment, as far as comedy or anything like that. He can't contribute as far as debating. So when you look at like a podcast, like he doesn't contribute that much to the podcast on screen as far as the actual product, where you could even point to something he does significantly and say, okay, if we look at another podcast, this guy is a fresh figure. His contribution is so low that if you look at a whatever podcast, the dude Brian, who is an actual host, he is not better than Andrew, but at least we look at him like, okay, he still debates well. His presence is still felt. He is still there. And the last thing I'm gonna say, as far as Myron had Myron's Hadouken. His signature move is kicking chicks out. It's kicking chicks out. The Frank Castle was, the term was coined for him, and that's what he does. He kicks chicks out. Now, this is the thing about him. And again, I might not fuck with him. I might not like him. Might think he's racist. But again, I am not a hater. This motherfucker has had growth over the years. When it comes to his patience, when it comes to his temper, he has grown over the years, just like his prosthetic hair that he just got like on episode 457 or what the fuck ever, just out of thin air. He's grown, but at the same time, that's something that he is known for. How the fuck can Fresh have a signature move when Fresh, his contribution is barely even seen on screen? So when you think about, because even then, there are other ways that he is a detriment on screen. There are other ways that he is a detriment on screen. But when we just look at what I said, we can see the significance of Myron on the podcast. We can even see the significance of the guy on the boards. We could see other podcasts are copying the format. We could see on other podcasts that are successful. This is a Myron archetype. This is the guy who is going to logically debate against these chicks and shoot down a lot of the shit that they say with logic. This is going to be the guy that provides a lot of education during these discussions and debates. This is the guy that is equipped to, you know, talk to somebody else who is like very intelligent, especially a woman that is like not just one of these like bimbos and shit, but like a psychologist or something that comes on, like is a feminist psychologist or something. If they come on, he is capable of having a debate with them. When it comes to Fresh, there is no on-screen contribution. He could be the fucking Mac or Trick of the Year. He could be scamming on the side and paying these chicks to come up, and he could be in a club, like whatever the fuck he does off screen. That's all good, man. That's all good, man. But remember how I said Myron grew? Bruh, I'll go and watch a clip. There is no fucking growth when it comes to Fresh. So when you look at those things, the fact that he's actually been a detriment, the fact that he doesn't have any signature, anything that he's known for, but the fact that he really doesn't do shit to where he could even have an archetype. Fuck a signature, but just an archetype. What are you there for? People begin to question why you were here. These guys who tune in look at Myron like he's so fucking amazing. Like they really look at him like he is their messiah. And then they look to the fucking right and they are like, bruh, how, just why? 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 And that is what it is. Like, it's puzzling. It's puzzling. And that's why so many people question it. That's why so many people question it. Now, I will say, recently, since they've been feuding and stuff like that, I watched a clip, watched a few clips. When Fresh was clowning, when, you know, Myron got him banned and stuff like that, like, that shit was funny. That shit was funny. The funny thing about it is all the people behind the boards was laughing right with him. Myron was the only one not laughing. I was laughing through the phone, and while I was watching, I was laughing. But it is kind of crazy to me that the most memorable moment, especially as of recently, is you debating with Sneeko, and the debate was fucking horrible, and you laughing at Myron. It's kind of crazy. Now listen, this video is ready to go up. I already had it up. That was supposed to be it. I'm trying to find a picture of Myron. I see they got a video with Safari. I go and watch the video. I fast forward into the video. Heavens to Murgatroyd, man. I fast forwarded to the right part. It's crazy, right? Watch this clip.
Okay,
but
that's fair.
Outside of me, look, I just want to say this, because before I met you, and today is my first time seeing you in person in real life, because I've always been seeing you. Yeah. And I'm always asking him why you're never around, because before I met him, I thought y'all two are like everywhere together. But every time you were always gone, like
I never leave this place.
Yeah.
I'm always inside.
Yeah, but
I'm a very boring person.
I feel like y'all are so
different.
No, just outside of, I'm not even talking about y'all personality. I'm just talking about what you are as far as like the media world.
So listen. That right there is very telling. Myron himself said he doesn't leave the studio. Myron himself said he doesn't leave the studio. Safari is a celebrity. He is a celebrity guest. He's going to draw views. He's going to validate their platform just by being there. He says the person that he always sees and talks to is Fresh. And we know that he talks to him because he said, well, you know, where's your man at? I never see your mans. So when you look at that, that is tangible evidence of the value that he brings to the podcast. I've seen it speculated before, but I've never seen proof. He is the networker. The celebrity guests, more than likely, he is bringing them in. He's somewhat of a socialite. He had a story that nobody believed about him rocking with an NBA player and stuff like that, and then like him sending the, Fresh into a room to have sex with whatever chicks he wanted and stuff like that. Who do you think is getting more celebrities on the podcast? Who do you think is because do you think Academics came through Myron? I wouldn't know. Because Myron, again, he is always at the crib. He is always at the studio. And Academics is somebody who's always at the crib, so it could have been a DM. I remember some things were going on between Academics and Fresh was getting on Academics' platform, and that made me assume that they had rapport because they're both Caribbean, It's possible he sources the women to come on the show, et cetera, but that right there is tangible. Even we could speculate all types of stuff. We could speculate that he puts money into the podcast and, the reason they got XYZ when they started off. We could speculate all types of shit. That right there is actual tangible proof of the value of Fresh. Because not only is he networking with celebrities and getting them on the show, Myron has admitted on camera that he stays in the studio. He doesn't go out. So in public, in Miami, Fresh is the face of the brand. He is the face of the brand in real life and in public. And clearly, if he could get Safari up there, he carries it well. But that's all I got for you. I'm sorry it took so long to get into that, but it's something I just seen that was tangible proof, and I had to put it in the video. So let me know your thoughts. I'm gone.